Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. This time we're talking about the Smith & Wesson Double Action 44. This is a pretty big boy. This is the double action descendant of the Smith & Wesson No. 3 and the 45 Schofield and their ilk. It is a top break revolver with auto ejecting and a double action trigger. So it can be fired with the trigger or cocked and manually fired, as you saw in the video. Originally, this gun was listed in Smith & Wesson's catalog as the Smith & Wesson third model Navy, because after buying 131,000 of the No. 3s, the Russian Navy was making noises of interest about the 44 double action, and so in the triumph of hope over experience, Smith & Wesson listed it in their catalog as the third model Navy. The Russians never did buy them, and it became known as the 44 double action or the 44 New Frontier double action revolver. And the caliber is 44 Russian, which is this here. I did an entire video explaining how the Russians are to blame for your 44 being a 43, and this is that cartridge. Now, anyway, and you could watch that video and find out all about this cartridge. It originally fired a 246 grain lead bullet at 750 feet per second, 310 foot-pounds of energy or so. It's not bad for the time, considered a fairly hard-hitting round, and it was a quite popular round in the West. These guns were made from 1881 until 1913, and so they had a fairly good run. They made at least 54,000, almost 55,000 of them. Anyway, let's go to the tabletop and have a look at the details. Okay, first things first, let's unload and show clear. These use, I believe, the same barrel as the No. 3, but don't quote me on that. To unload the gun or to show clear, you push up on the lever and then open the cylinder, and as you can see, the ejector star will kick out any cartridges that happen to be in there. It kicks the empties out with a little more vigor because, of course, it's sticky and requires a bit more force to properly open. And as you can see, it is a 6-shooter, and it uses the early type Smith & Wesson cylinder with this secondary groove and catches in it. This was eliminated on later models. I'm told that this gun was made in May of 1881, but I have no actual proof of that. But it is definitely an early type. Half-moon front sight, typical Smith & Wesson double-action, practically microscopic rear sight. And despite that, it's not hard to shoot this accurately at reasonable pistol ranges out to 25 yards. It has this interesting hooked trigger guard, which is designed to hammer the guard into your knuckle when firing to remind you that the gun has gone off in case the blast from the muzzle wasn't sufficient clue. And I have the original grips, but I like antler. I had antler, so I made antler. And it's really not that uncomfortable to fire, despite hammering into your finger. It's actually, that is less acute firing smokeless rounds than it is firing black powder. Black powder cartridges always seem to be more violent, even when they're not more powerful. Many of these, again, they were manufactured until 1913, and foreign armies that purchased them, which a number of officers of foreign armies did, either these or the Belgian or Spanish copies, routinely proofed them for smokeless powder. So I have no compunctions about shooting relatively mild smokeless loads out of the gun. And the double action trigger is, predictably, it's heavy, but it's extremely smooth. It does stack towards the end. But if you're pulling straight through, that really doesn't bother you. There's pretty good leverage there. We're having some issues here. Hey, the gun's 130 years old, so give it a break. But as you can see, while somewhat heavy, it is smooth and it is very short travel. And even the single action is relatively short travel. Single action is very light and super crisp. It's really quite nice to shoot. To the best of my knowledge, the double action 44 was never full-scale adopted by any military, but they served in militaries and police forces all over the world and were quite popular. As I said, they made almost 55,000 of them, and that's rather a lot at the time. They were private purchased for officers, particularly in Britain, but other countries as well. Some South American countries adopted them for various police forces. And again, it's a fine, serviceable old revolver. And the fact that this one is still in decent firing condition, nearly 140 years after it was made, is really a testament to the quality of these guns. I don't shoot this a lot, but it's just such a pleasure to shoot. And the large gun with a medium-powered cartridge, very, very mild, pleasant recoil, and the nice trigger, and the crappy sights. It's just a great old gun to shoot and a lot of fun. So, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Also, if you want to provide a more tangible support, consider clicking the link below and supporting me on Patreon. It all helps. So, I hope this finds you well. Stay safe, take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.